sweet souls. How are you? It's your Forest Fairy here. Nice to see you. And welcome to the channel. Now this is what I'm calling my deck introductions. I've been reading cards for a while now, and I not only read the cards, I'm a card reader, I not only read the cards, but I read the energies in these cards. So I have chosen decks that really speak to me with each zodiac sign's specific energy, almost a signature energy, from Pisces, or sorry, from Aries to Pisces. I was going backwards there. Maybe we should start with Pisces. Pisces always has to wait, don't they, in the tarot world? So with that, I have gone through my decks, and I have chosen, and you will see each zodiac sign having their own deck. And it's because I do so many reads in a day that as soon as I pick up that zodiac sign's deck, I instantly get into their energy. So let's begin with Aries. Aries I have chosen, and it's the 4th edition. It's the Broken Mirror Tarot. Now, there's Aries stone that goes with it, so we'll just put this here for now. This particular deck was very special to me because as soon as I saw it, I was reminded of stained glass. And as a child, I went to church with stained glass windows, and I always wanted to sit by the stained glass so I could see. So it's a very childlike sense of wonder of how they did the stained glass. How did they get it so and at the time I didn't even know how they stuck it together. Did they use glue, but it looks like steel? How did they do such large windows? Why doesn't it fall down? All these questions. Then I learned how to do stained glass, and it was beautiful. It was it was a dream come true for me. And so when I look at this deck, when I see the images of this deck, I see stained glass. I see stained glass images. I see relief lines. I see images within the characters that really speak and remind me of my childhood, which, when it comes to Aries energy, is pure, childlike sense of excitement, adventure, wonder, and delight. And so with that, every time I pick up, I love this, every time I pick up this deck, I very much, and there's Aries right there, the Emperor. And again, the wisdom. I very much get into Aries energy, and I have 2 Aries suns, which remind me of that childlike sense and that fiery temperament that one out of the 2 definitely has. So I don't want to lose your stone, Aries. So that Broken Mirror Tarot is Aries. Taurus. Taurus, now I don't know how to pronounce this one. I'm going to say Fantôme Tarot deck. When I feel Taurus energy, I very much feel stability. I feel work, like let's get to work. But I also feel luxury. I feel class. I feel very much doing the right thing, doing a good job, being proud of the work that I've done, and building. And so with Taurus, there's Taurus's stone. With Taurus, this deck here, I loved the colors because it was Taurus energy for me is grounding. This is classy. Oh, I've got a couple of cards from a different deck. It's good that I'm going through these. The Hierophant right there. There you are, Taurus. And I like the blue and the pink, the magenta, if you will. The colors of this deck really speak. There's the Queen. Really speak to me as far as communicating the throat chakra as well as the higher crown chakra, which really reminded me of how much Taurus, whether they know it or not, listen to their higher selves. This is how they can manifest in this real world, in this 3D world. And so with Taurus, I chose the Phantom Tarot deck, and that is yours, Taurus. Gemini. Now, Gemini for me is very much fun. So of course I went into anime, and this is simply called the Japanese Anime Tarot deck. This is a very youthful deck. There's a lot. I have a lot of anime tarot decks, and they range in Taurus. They range in what and do you see how youthful these faces are? In the style of anime. Anime always really reminds me of Gemini. Both Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces ended up having anime decks in different types. Now this one is very youthful. This one is very, like this, so when I saw this card, it so reminded me of Gemini because it's swords, it's thoughts, and I see the twins in particular. Maybe not seeing eye to eye, not getting along. This is two sides of the coin. This is what a lot of Geminis, the energy of Gemini can go through, especially when they're in sort of mental strife or contradiction. They can really, who is it? It is, there's a singer, and she says, I am factual and fiction. It is, oh, I can't remember her name. I'll remember it. Anyways, it reminds me of this card in particular. And so when I pick this up, I'm instantly put into this little kid, let's have fun, let's play, let's anime. And that's Gemini energy for me. So, Japanese Anime Tarot is Gemini's deck. On to Cancer. Now, out of all the decks, Cancer is the only one that does not have, it's all natural. It does not have, and there's Cancer's stone. It does not have any humans. It's the Pacific Northwest Tarot. This deck is gorgeous. The sun, look at that. This deck is all with animals, with plants, insects, and with every card I am reminded of Mother Earth. And it's a very mothering, for me, living here in the 100-acre woods, this deck is absolutely gorgeous and speaks to me on a very Cancer level. Cancer is an energy of life-giving, of mothering, of nurturing, and so it's just appropriate that Cancer gets the Pacific Northwest Tarot deck. Reason being is because I really feel the energy of Mother Earth in this deck, and Cancer has such a loving, mothering, nurturing energy that I felt this deck really spoke to me for Cancer. And it's the only one zodiac sign that got an all animal deck. I have quite a few, but this one speaks to me. It's beautiful, and I love working with it. Now, Leo. Leo's deck is the Sun, Moon Tarot, and simply put, and there's Leo's stone. Simply put, Leo's deck, it literally has the sun, the word sun, which Leo represents. The sun represents Leo. And just the name of the deck brought me to it, but it's again a childlike sense of wonder, of optimism, and I love the fact that the figures are very expressive even though they're faceless. So when I feel into Leo's energy, anyone and everyone can have this optimism, this honesty, this big heart that Leo has, and this child tapping back into fun, tapping back into love, tapping back into. So I find it interesting that the animals, the horses, do have faces, and yet when you take a look at the figures, it could be anyone. Anyone can embrace their shine, embrace their inner Leo. Where is Leo in your chart? What's in that 5th house, which is what Leo rules? And so with that, this is the perfect deck for all my Leos. Look at that. It's beautiful. There's Leo right there, right? I absolutely love this deck for Leo. So Leo got the Sun and Moon Tarot deck. And with that, we move on to Virgo. Virgo's deck is really special to me. And I'll tell you why. The detail of it. This deck is called Shadowscapes Tarot. This deck is extremely detailed. Every time I read with this deck, I read a Virgo read, I see something different, something new in this deck, in each and every card. With every card, it goes deeper and deeper, not only into the meaning, like look at this devil. The devil does speak to your heart, to your emotions. The devil knows what your heart's desire. I mean, there's the key right there, and there's the little, and you're chained to something you already know. What is the key? Who has your crown? I mean, there's so many details to this deck that every time I read, I see something different. And I've done a lot of reads and will continue to do reads. The zodiac signs get weeklies, and this deck is absolutely beautifully illustrated. It speaks, it really does speak to my soul as far as what each card means and the depth of each meaning and the detail with which this artist put in the time and effort. Like this pains, I feel it when I see each one of these cards. And so for Virgo, because you are, and it's not just, you know, a stereotypical thing, but Virgos do have a knack for attention to detail. And so that's why Shadowscape Tarot is your deck. On to Libra. Libra. The Modern Way Tarot is what I chose for you. There's your stone. The Modern Way Tarot is very, I'm not going to say black and white, but it's very clear. Clear and traditional. Traditional in that it's very much Rider-Waite, but as you can see with the colors, I not only read the traditional images that are clearly illustrated, But I also read the colors, which are very, and I'm going to say it again, clear. And so Libra, when I feel into your energy, I do have a Libra moon. And Pluto, Pluto Libra. And so that's my generation. And so with that, I see the colors really speaking to which chakra they refer to. I also see the clarity in the images, and they speak to each other. So you, and just looking at this, success will come about when you accept help or love from the divine or others, right? Instead of being stubborn. This is a very stubborn card. So, and you have 2 extra cards in this deck. This is the Way is one of them. And I think it's You Are the Way. Well, you'll see when we read. And so Libra, this deck, this is the Way. This is your deck, Libra, Modern Way Tarot. Now, Scorpio. Scorpio, I have chosen the Lazy Crow for you. It's not on here. It's called the Lazy Crow Tarot deck. I do have a connection to crows and ravens out here in the 100 Acre Woods, and there's your stone. And the reason why, and I'm sort of chuckling, the reason why I chose this deck for you was one simple reason. It was the eyes for me. The eyes really spoke to me and said this is Scorpio's deck, because if you've ever tried to stare down a Scorpio, they have that Scorpio stare. Blank eyes. You can't read them. It's very difficult to read a Scorpio that's in that Scorpio stare where they're reading you. Excuse me, yeah. I hear you, Scorpio. And so when I saw this deck, it wasn't at all intimidating. It wasn't at all I'm just going to use the word intimidating. Because of the simplicity of the illustrations and the style of the illustrations, it was very heartwarming. Scorpio energy. It was very loving. Not at all, and again, there's watercolors in there too, that for me, the white eyes, or the Scorpio, I'm just calling it the Scorpio stare eyes, were the windows to the soul. And so anyone and everyone can and does have the ability to see into the souls of others. Scorpio knows this better than any zodiac sign. And so you got the Lazy Crow deck, Scorpio, and there's your stone. Sagittarius. As I mentioned with Gemini, you got traditional manga, sorry, I always say it wrong and the kids correct me. Manga tarot. Traditional. Classic. This, for me, there's the King of Wands. There you are, right there. This, for me, was a beautifully illustrated, a story being told with each and every image. They talk to each other. They communicate, not just on an illustrative level, but almost in another world. In a manga world. In an anime world. Now, with that, these are, again, traditional, but classic for me. And Sagittarius is a real class act. They are fire. And fire that's not fixed and that's not cardinal, but that's mutable. They move from worlds, from dimensions. And when I read with this deck, I see not only emotions, I feel it. I feel it on different levels when I'm reading for Sagittarius. And so this deck really spoke to me for Sagittarius in the way that it's not just intellectual, it's not just of the heart, it's really of the spirit, of the soul. And so with that, Sagittarius, you got manga. I think that's how you pronounce it. Traditional manga. On to Capricorn. Capricorn, you got, it's actually 100 cards. I don't use them all. And it's an astrology tarot deck. Fate Shifters is what it's called. Yes, Fate Shifters. What I love about this, now for YouTube, there were cards in here, and there were extra cards that I sort of edited out, so I didn't have to edit in editing. Everyone's covered. There's no nudity, and some of these cards, they did have some nudity in it. The Lovers was one of them. I think the Devil was another. Of course, the Aquarius star card. But what I love about this is it's the traditional Rider-Waite images, and yet so beautifully illustrated in almost realistic. It's a very realistic faces. It's not like the Leo, like the Libra and Scorpio decks that are very, even the anime decks, they're very specific in their illustrative styles, right? This is more real, almost photographic style, which I really like for Capricorn. Because Capricorn is so real. When I read these images, I see a real hand. I see reality in what could be considered a fantasy world. Like, what does that face say to you? What is he feeling, imagining, seeing for into the future? Or in some cases, looking into the past. So when I love these images. And look at, even the cat is staring right at you. As she's looking off, that cat is looking forward. Now, I might add in the future the astrology, but again, YouTube is a little bit touchy when it comes to nudity. So there's quite a few. So I just use the 78 regular and what would be acceptable cards for YouTube, and that is Capricorn. It's grounding, it's reality, and I love the artwork. I really admire the artwork. And as an artist, someone who spent years drawing, and I appreciate that deck, and that's why Capricorn got it. Now, Aquarius, you got Mystic Mondays. This deck for you, the colors are so beautifully done. The colors speak to me. They're very much chakra colors. The images, like this is a beautiful devil, just like Virgo. This really speaks to how our mind is where the devil enters into our thoughts, into our feelings, right? Very interesting. And is your door open to be tempted by doubt, fear? You know, these very simply done. I love, with Aquarius, it also gives me an out of this world feel. There's a lot of levitation. There's a lot of feeling of extra dimensional feeling with this deck for me. And as it says, it's mystic. It really does have an Aquarius feel for me. It's very clear, very clearly, as an air sign, very clear. But Aquarius also has a lot of fun. Aquarius is also a rebel. The energy of Aquarius. And so when I see these cards, I am brought into the mystic world of the Mystic Mondays. Look at that, King of Pentacles. Like, who doesn't love that? That's actually very much Aquarius, as well as Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, but it's in your deck, Aquarius, and I just love the class, the style. And it's very stylistic and going against the grain, as well as being very clear. Again, just like my Libra deck. So you get the Mystic Mondays, Aquarius. And finally, Pisces, along with Gemini and Sagittarius. Pisces, you got Ideal Soulmate Tarot. Now, this is a little bit more mature than the Gemini deck, and there's a reason for that. Because you're Pisces. You are a combination of all of the zodiac signs in the very end. These are still very expressive. When I see these images, I very much, when you see this, you see an emotion, you see a facial expression, a physical expression that really does speak to the feeling of the cards. And so when I read your cards, this particular deck, the Ideal Soulmate Tarot, and Pisces, isn't that what really, when we go through the whole zodiac belt, aren't we really looking for and seeking soul mates? We know that we know each other from other, whether it be realms, dimensions, lifetimes. And so when I see these images, I very much get into that dreamy world of Pisces, that you really see the world through the eyes, really in an anime way. I really truly feel, if you've ever talked to a Pisces, they see the world through an anime way. And that, my sweet souls, is the deck introduction for every zodiac sign, as you will see here on Forest Fairy Tarot. And I look forward to seeing you again. I'm sure I will. Take care, sweet souls. Bye for now.